All right. We're live.
We are live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to TT&T, where we spotlight independent artists, entrepreneurs, and everyday people. We have your host, Titus Glenn. I am your host, Madam Secretary. And I want you guys to give a big, warm, we miss you, Takara, to our co-host, Miss Winky, in our production, Takara. Hi. Yes. All right, y'all. And we have the best audience on this side of the South. So give yourselves a round of applause. Yes. All right, y'all. And we have the best audience on this side of the South. So give yourselves a round of applause.
Sorry.
Yes. All
It's a
right,
lot going on.
y'all.
Sorry.
All right. We listen, y'all, but it's okay. It's just production. It's all right. It's just production. All right, everybody. Let's get our show started tonight. We will go ahead and address you guys. Just you guys send your prayers and love to Takara on tonight. She may or may not be in the chat, but she is still loved and here with us in spirit. So we just send our love to her in her absence. Titus, hey man, hey,
What's up?
how you doing? Well, I should say you ready for a game, but I don't know if you and Dread Trey would make a good fit to play.
Red Trey?
Yes, I don't
Who's
know.
Dread? Who's Dread Trey?
Yeah, we know who Dread Trey here at TTNT is. We know he only comes out of special shows, special occasion.
Let's go with the game. Let's go.
All right, Titus Glenn, give us the number one artist on the billboards right now.
Really?
You don't have to answer that. You know, but just answer. Just who do you think it is?
Jonathan Jonathan McReynolds? Who
All right, let's just give it to him.
are we serious? Who?
Oh my goodness, Titus Glenn. All right, Titus Glenn. On this is a question he should know. Just the name. Just give us a name. What's the number 3 song on your album? Spiritual Movie.
Spiritual Human, what's the third song from the recording? Oh, You Are God. That's what we recorded third, yes.
Okay.
Which is not released yet. So that order might change. So but
No,
that's
you had to pull it out. You had to pull it out.
that's
All right. We just gonna kind of get to know you. Titus, yeah,
Lord
get
have
to know
mercy.
you. Yes.
Okay.
So Titus, out of the audience, you had 2 people and they were dressed alike. Who were they?
Betty and Susan. Well, are we serious right now? The twins, Betty and Susan.
Yes, they were, and they were dressed alike. Also at the recording, you had a pastor on the album. What was his name?
Pastor Chris Wesley.
That is correct. You in a row.
Wait, what in the world?
It's the face for me, friend. What's the face? That you just so good at this game?
This is like an easy game.
It's oh, you like the hard games. So we surveyed 100 people. Do you want to do that? We surveyed. Oh, you know what? Okay, so I was speaking to someone today. In the show The Wiz, the lion was what? He was the what lion?
And he was
In the yes, in the
the cowardless lion or
cowardly
the cowardly
cowardly lion.
lion.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you 2 more. The scarecrow. The scarecrow. All he wanted was what?
All the scarecrow wanted was to have a heart.
Moving right along. The
Was that
10 men.
wrong? The
That is
10 oh no. The 10 man wanted to have a heart. The
that is
scarecrow
correct.
wanted to have a brain.
He wanted to have a brain. That's
Yeah.
right. And what did Dorothy want more than anything?
Go back home.
To get home. That's right. Okay, Titus Glenn. We're not going to further ado this any longer. Yes. Can we have a song?
We want a song.
Yes, we're going to
Sure.
turn over to Titus Glenn for break.
Yeah, how y'all doing? This is T. One of our T's is absent today. We're sending so much love to Takara. Y'all
Mhm.
pray for her, inbox her, let her know that you guys are praying with her. Let me go ahead and do this while we are at this standstill. If you guys are wanting to send her some type of gift for her
Mhm.
family, let me go ahead and shoot you guys this
Just
address.
in the inbox. In the inbox. We don't want to put it on.
Would you
Yes.
put it what?
Yes, because it is an address, right? Can we
Oh
just do
yeah,
it? You guys inbox us and we'll make sure you get the invitation. I mean the information
information that you need
directly.
on where to send it.
Yes, because we don't
Absolutely.
know who all watches the show. And we want to make sure just the people that want to send her something gets the
Right.
information. So inbox.
Right. So the song we're gonna get into, the indie artist we're gonna get into today. Well, let's go back to Kayla Williams. This is a song that's I think is a favorite on here on TTNT, where we spotlight indie artists, entrepreneurs, and everyday people. This is Love Letter by Kayla Williams.
This is a letter to you, though I formed it as a song, and I've signed it with my heart and sealed it with my love. It's coming from that secret place where I buried my sacred things. But because of your love, I found the courage to sing. Lord, you're good. So I'd hate to think of where I'd be without your love. You're so beautiful to me. So Jesus, here's my love letter for all the world to see. You are Alpha and Omega. Yet you care about the sparrow and the tree. It blows my mind to consider how much you love and think about me. Lord, you're good. So I'd hate to think of where I'd be without your love. You're so beautiful to me. So Jesus, here's my love letter for all the world to see. I wanna give my love to you, my heart, my mind, my body too. 'Cause life with you was so much better. So Jesus, here's my love letter. I wanna give my love to you, my heart, my soul, my body too. 'Cause life with you was so much better. So Jesus, here's my love letter. I wanna give my love to you. I wanna give my love to you. My heart, my soul, my my body too. My body. Cause life with you is so much better. So Jesus, here's my love letter. Jesus, here's my love letter. I wanna give my love to you. My heart, my soul, my body too. And my body. Cause life with you is so much better. Everything is so much better. So Jesus, here's my love letter. Jesus, here's my love. My heart, my body too. Cause life with you is so much better. So Jesus, here's my love letter. So Jesus, here's my heart. Here's my soul. Here's my body. Take control. Cause life with you is so much better. So Jesus, here's my love letter.
Look at that audience showing up. I
They
mean,
get paid
like
to. They
on
get paid
time.
to.
Listen, they must like their paycheck at one point.
Listen.
They were not consistent in showing up.
Don't do the audience. Don't do the audience types.
They was
Hello.
they was gonna get a pink ship.
A pink, that's why you can say it. A pink shit.
They was gonna get a pink slip for real. Okay. All right, guys, we gonna hop into it. This is the show because this is the show where we spotlight indie artists, entrepreneurs, and everyday people. So, y'all, we have on this show tonight Mr. Jace Jackson. Give it up for Jace Jackson, guys. What's the audience? You see how delayed they were?
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Hi, hello. The audience was late only because Titus said your name 5 times. We just wanted to make sure we were before.
What?
Hi, Jace.
I said it once.
I'm Madam Secretary. How Titus? How are y'all?
I'm doing great. I'm doing
Good,
great.
good.
Welcome to the show. We're excited to get to know you. Let our audience know who you are. I mean, and them to get to see you and learn about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Y'all, if you guys are watching right now, go ahead and tag somebody in this post. Share with somebody who just want to meet Jace Jackson and just find out what he does. What?
Chase.
You saying Jace?
Chase. That's what I'm looking right. I'm saying.
Yes.
I saw
That's
the
what I
Chase
used to wait. Wait for Jace to show up. Jace never came.
Whatever. But I'm gonna call you Mr. Jackson. How about that?
Either one works. I'm just happy to be here, y'all.
It's been I was leaving rehearsal to get here on time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still slowing down just a little bit.
Look, understood. It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
So talk to us. Where are you from?
Right.
And yeah, well, let's start there. Where are you from?
Okay. Well, I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. I was raised in Marshall, Texas, so East Texas, for those who just don't know where Marshall is. After that, of course, I grew up in a church home, Southern Baptist, all that good stuff.
Southern Baptist.
Just Baptist. You gotta say Southern Baptist.
So you know all the hymns.
Okay, I won't say all the hymns, but I may know 1 or 2. Yes. So I am the son of 2 pastors. My mom and my dad are both great ministers, and like I can preach to even when it's not a Sunday. So you know how that goes.
Absolutely.
Because I'm the older brother to a whiz kid of a sister, so she's out there doing her thing and couldn't be prouder of her.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up. So you say you're the oldest?
Yes.
That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just dive in. You know, you're oldest sibling. You're from Marshall, East Texas, and you are here on TTNT, and we're getting ready to talk about. No, one of the things we want to talk about is your podcast that you have. Correct?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, so let's dive into it. How did you start the podcast?
So, like most, at the top of the pandemic, like early 2020, we had nothing else to do. So I already had been in love with podcasts, just listening to different shows. So at the top of 2020, I heard somebody say, if you come out of this pandemic the same way you started, then you did it wrong.
Absolutely.
So, I said right then and there, I started thinking about leaving a legacy. What can I do? Even doesn't have to be a huge legacy. What can I do small enough that would make an impact, or would be a benefit to somebody somewhere?
Okay.
So I knew I wanted to start a podcast at that point from listening to so many others.
Okay.
Um, we all know somebody that's afflicted with mental health issues, or
Mm.
just Black people in general. As we know, just don't talk about mental health issues. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about mental health issues. So we keep that on the down low. So,
For sure.
and even though I was never diagnosed with mental health issues, I'm not a mental health therapist.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's unique about my show is that I ask questions because I don't know. I
Mm.
don't know. So I interview therapists and I interview those who are going through certain things.
Mm.
So the name of my show is Black Mind Chronicles, and it is on the topic of mental health in our community. And
Wow.
my tagline is, we talk about so many things, but the one thing that matters, and that's our own well-being.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I I like this already. I mean, I knew we was talking about the podcast, but I didn't know exactly what it was about.
mhm,
And I feel like in this dispensation of my life currently, I think it's huge for our community to
mhm.
just be in some type of counseling, period.
Right. No, agreed, agreed. And it, even though I do push for counseling, going to see counselors, your counseling could honestly be talking to somebody, doing something that you like that helps heal you, and
Mhm.
just honestly knowing that you're not alone. So
Right.
even though you feel alone, you feel kind of secluded, just knowing that you're not the only one going through what you're going through is another
Absolutely.
form of therapy, is another form of healing that I can relate to somebody who's been through my situation.
Absolutely. So let's talk real quick, and I'm gonna let Madam Secretary
Sure.
chime in. I know her lashes are ready to speak tonight. Um, what would you say is really the main thing around
Mhm.
why African Americans will not work on their mental health?
Okay, that's a loaded question.
But
One,
especially when it pertains to finding some type of assistance
mhm.
outside of church.
So one is the trust. One is trust. Um, how can I talk to you? And one, if I don't know you, but that could be anybody. That's not just a Black thing. It can be anybody.
Mm,
Two, our communities, we go through so much. Like honestly, living day to day, dealing with all types of systemic racism and other things out there in the world. When will we have time to go seek help for ourselves? And we're trying to take care of everybody else and all of our other issues. Where do we have the money to even pay for therapy? And where do we get it from? Some don't know that there are resources out there that would help, but
mm.
therapy is expensive as well, or some of it is costly, I should say. So
But here's
you
the
gotta take
thing,
time off.
though.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's the thing, though. We will find money for everything else.
Hmm.
We'll find money to take a vacation. We'll find money to buy the new Jordans.
Real quick.
We'll find money for clothes for Easter Sunday morning
Hmm.
or Christmas time. Like legit, what is the hold up? Because for me, I guess we're going through. People know I went through a divorce recently,
Hmm.
and that was like number one on my list. Even before I start going through my divorce, I
Hmm.
put myself in some type of counseling session because I knew that with my relationship with God, I also needed therapy.
Right, right.
And I feel like people, I'm gonna give a plug right here, spiritually human.
Hmm.
People check on their spirit, but they won't work on their human side.
Hmm.
We'll pray all day, we'll do Daniel fast, but when it actually comes to making these things applicable while we're here on this earth, we fail to actually do the work that make us better.
Right. Agreed. Agreed. And I think you even touched on the point already without saying it is prioritizing. What's our priority as a people?
Absolutely.
Our priorities are led through the music that we listen to, the TV that we watch. If it's not coming through the music that we listen to that tells us it should be a priority, then
Absolutely.
how are we gonna pay attention
Mhm.
to it ourselves? Just we're big into pop culture and what's hip.
Absolutely.
So if it's not there, yeah.
I
And it's
want to jump in a little
go
bit.
jump in, man. I'm
I
sorry.
want to jump
I know
in
your
because
lashes been
I
want to
want to hear
speak. Go
some.
ahead.
Yeah, I want to hear some. I mean, I'm hearing some things that are really jumping out to me. because I am a believer of therapy. I do have a therapist, and one thing that I do really I'm strongly about is being very open minded and understanding the
Mhm.
Black community and why is therapy one of the lower things on our list of things to do. But I believe it goes a lot of further back. So I'll touch on a few things for me, and then I just want you, Chase, to let me know what you think about that. For one, if I go all the way back, a lot of times Black African American people or African people during slavery got in trouble for telling, got in trouble for speaking
Mhm.
and saying different things,
Mhm.
for asking for help. If
Mm.
you ask for help, you could get your hands chopped off, your legs chopped off. You could be whipped in front of the entire community. And so, like I said, going through therapy, those are the questions I ask. Like, where did it start and why did it start? And a lot of times, and the reason why I asked that question is because that was one of my first questions coming into therapy was, and this is not a game. This is like legit. I asked my therapist, was I going to get in trouble from what I was about to tell her?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
needed to know that, and you said it, you said trust, that what I was about to say would stay either between me and her or wouldn't be something that could put me away later or
Yeah.
something that could lead to my children being taken away.
Mhm.
Because so many times our struggle in the Black community has been that you, you, when you don't, when you let your guard down, you've been taken advantage of a lot of times. And so tell me about that, Chase. What do you think about that? And then I'll say my second thing.
No, very good points. Your whole spiel kind of reminded me of a book which I still haven't finished yet, but stamped from the beginning, where some things were just indoctrinated from the get go, right? Um, so way back in the day, like I said, if somebody asked for help, if we showed a sign of weakness, we were automatically killed, beaten.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a good point. Asking for help, showing weakness,
Mm.
showing emotions
Mm-hmm.
would be our downfall. This thing is seen as weak or being too feminine, if you will, especially for Black men. We don't
Mm.
show weakness, we don't show emotion. And that could very well be one of the cases of why we don't go and seek help, why we don't let our guard down, why we're not vulnerable, why we
Mm-hmm.
don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to let others help us. Like, yeah, and trust. Trust is another big thing. So for those who are really going through some, I'll say, seedy or illegal things, for better or for worse, talking to a therapist is, yeah, that, will I get in trouble? Is this gonna come back on me in the court of law?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And I know there's a confidentiality agreement between you and your therapist, but how far does that go
Exactly.
when legal things happen?
Exactly.
So I mean, that's, yeah, all the above, all the above.
Okay. And then my next thing as far as the list of things to do, right?
Mhm, mhm,
When we look at life, children, health, all of that. When you think about your mentor, I'm gonna go back a little bit to your childhood, when you
mhm,
skin your knee. That's kind of traumatic to a little kid that, first of all, I'm scared of the bike.
mhm,
I got up there and I thought, you encouraged me, maybe a parent or mentor encouraged them to do something, and then they didn't succeed in it. And so they fell down. And so that's traumatic for them. And
mhm,
we're told you're okay. That's one of the things as a
mhm,
child you are told over and over again when you are trying to search for feelings to go
comfort.
with how you're feeling your emotions. You're trying to
Mhm,
put a word to it, how you're feeling to express yourself. You are told time and time again, you are okay. And
mhm,
that goes for if you're sad, if you're happy, if you're depressed, if like you're okay is the overall thing that is basically the blanket, right?
mhm,
And so
mhm,
when I think about mental health, a lot of times we hear people say that you're stuck in the same state that you were when something traumatic happened to you.
mhm,
But I believe you're stuck in that blanket of I'm okay, right? You tell yourself you're okay, even if you're not. So I want you to
mhm.
speak on that, and then I have something else.
Sure. So it's a form of suppression that's not always great, especially by your parents. Hey, toughen up. Just put some dirt in it. Oh, you're okay. Yeah, like I said, you're okay.
Mhm,
Just pray about it is another big one, especially in the church house. Or go to bed, right? Go to bed. Go to
mhm,
sleep. Get some rest. But those forms of suppressing does harm as well because you don't know how to display or adequately convey your feelings. So
Hmm.
sometimes people do lash out because they don't know how to talk it out.
Hmm.
So that comes back on a few, especially kids. They act out. That's why kids act out because they don't know how to convey or they don't
Hmm.
know what to say. So lashing out or acting out is sometimes the cause.
Yeah, I
And
learned
that
through
that
my
can follow you. That can follow you into your later years, teenage years, all that. Just they had no outlet.
exactly. And also generational, like you said.
Hmm. Hmm.
They you said something just now. You said they had no outlet, right?
Hmm.
We're speaking of the they of people, parents, mentors, spiritual
Hmm.
leaders, not being able to. One thing that I've learned in, like I said, in therapy is that your children look at you for while they're small to see how they're supposed to express certain emotions. If something makes you angry and you smile, they're gonna, when they get angry, it may look a little weird. You'll be like, why are you smiling when you're angry? Right? That's
Hmm.
because they do what they're mimicking behavior
Right.
that they've
Right.
saw before. If you're sad, why are you silent? You're literally shaking because you're not. Let your tears out. You need to cry. Go ahead and, like, we have to kind of pump and pry these
Hmm.
natural emotions now, in our adult years,
Hmm.
because of suppression or not having coping mechanisms or coping skills or even words to articulate. I find that a lot of people get angry, right? I've even witnessed people getting angry because they could not like say how they feel. They don't have the word. And because they can't find the word, it frustrates them. So now you
Right.
have another emotion on top of another emotion. um you have a bunch of great things that I've seen in your profile. I mean, from disease, you're in the community talking about cancer and different things like that. Is that something that you try to express to people on, or do you teach in the community how to express themselves? Because I know you have to deal with those different things. How do you walk away from someone
Hmm.
that maybe experiences some different things? What is something that you do to help them express themselves?
So for me, I'll go back to when I was actually quote unquote teaching. I didn't do a long stint, but just talking and working with kids. So one is honestly talking out. So those really, really bad kids, as we like to say, some of them just want to be heard. They want to be heard. It's really me, especially as a black male, taking them and walking with them and listening to what they have to say and asking them, like confronting them, hey, why did you do this? What was your reason behind this? Okay, what did you get out of this? What benefit was it? What can we do better next time to not be back in the situation? Sometimes like the kids really just want to talk to you, and I would say the adults could be the same way. You need to talk it out, come to a reasoning, try to come to an understanding, and come to a better solution of what we can do next time.
Yeah,
But
that's really good.
more
And
that.
I'll say this, in therapy, like I said, just speaking on mental, health,
Mhm.
in therapy, it may be looked at as very first level, right? Go back to the basics of teaching, right? I feel like I've learned more about either listening for my
Mhm.
understanding. I always listen to hear. I need to hear what you're saying. But
Mhm.
I've learned that I need to listen to understand
Mhm.
what my place is in your conversation. What are you trying to get me to understand? What am I supposed to do?
Mhm.
And so when it comes to mental health, I want you to speak on some of the boundaries and borders that we come across that creates dysfunction.
Mhm. So dysfunction where? Clarify that for me.
Dysfunction, some of the boundaries, because I know that when you have boundaries or borders, some
Mhm.
people take that as they get defensive because one says, hey, you know what, this is a boundary for me. Like I said, when I looked at your profile, the one thing that popped out to me was some of the different ailments that you address in the community. When
Mhm.
it comes to things like that, when people get sick, they not
Mhm.
always want to hear someone telling them what they need to do. I don't
Mhm.
even care if you're telling them, hey, you need to eat, right? That's a boundary. You need to
Mhm.
not eat something that is not good for you, right?
Mhm.
Or you need to not do something, maybe smoking. I
Got it.
know that's a big thing.
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so those boundaries and borders when it comes to health,
Mhm.
how do you break that bridge, so to say?
So one, it's leveling with somebody, and it can always come from somebody you care about the most, because it hits different. So it's breaking down that sense of pride,
Mhm.
so that nobody can tell me anything because I'm grown now, especially if I'm grown now. This is the way I've lived, so leave me alone, right?
Mhm.
Just having that one-on-one conversation, especially like I said, if it's somebody you're close to, how it not only affects them, but how their actions also affect others and maybe even their kids and this community, because sometimes it's that bad, right?
Mhm.
Um, to just showing where the actions have consequences and where you really come from a place of caring and showing that you care. So it's
Mhm.
not just, hey, you should eat that, but this is why and this is the effect that it can have on you. So just having those real conversations.
Thank
We
you. I'm gonna let Titus go. I know he's excited about the Facebook chat. Go ahead, Titus.
There are some questions. Gabriel
Yeah.
Odom asks, "What are your thoughts on the medication side of therapy? Do you feel that, and do you feel that the talking and releasing of emotions vocally are enough without the medication?"
That's a good point. What up, Gabe? First off, good to see you, bro. Um, so once again, not a therapist, but this is just my personal. If you need the medication, then by all means, take it. If once again another form of therapy, if talking it out with a peer group, college group, your community center, your whoever, if that's enough for you to, I guess, come back to yourself or to get things under control emotionally, then yeah, let that be that. But if you know that talking about it and somebody else has told you that these conversations just aren't enough, then yeah, you may need to seek your doctor or something different. So I'm not
Do you
against
feel like
medication. Mhm.
talking it out, and someone says, "Hey, you may need to, seek a different form of, I guess, working out your issues."
Mhm.
Do you feel like that's effective if they are talking it out but not using the skills that they've learned? Do you know what I
So
mean?
I think I do. It's one thing to one talk it out, but a second thing to actually apply what you've learned or
Mhm.
apply what somebody's trying to teach you. Everything takes action, right? So you can pray all you want, but if you don't go and do, if you don't go and act upon the word, then it does you no good.
Mhm.
Um, so I'll say yes, you need to act.
Mhm.
There are other forms of therapy or other people's therapy. So it's not just talking it out. It's not just going to go speak to a therapist or um, medication does help, but also there's people do what kickboxing. People go on bikes, biking trails. People read, watch movies.
For children,
That,
they have play therapy.
and yeah,
For children.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that. But there's different. My point is there's different outlets for people to use. There's lots of different outlets, but you have to find yours. That's why some of the great music artists are some hurtful souls out there, but they've gone through a lot, so that shows in their music, and that's what we have today. So find your outlet.
And I think Gabriel also said this, and I agree while we're in the chat.
Hmm.
Um, Two things. Well, first, the guy says, let me see. I'm trying to read some of the stuff that's been said because they're talking a lot here in the chat. It's all good stuff. Gabriel says sometimes we feel like having to take medication for a mental health disorder. Sometimes we feel like having
Excuse
medication for mental disorder. We don't want to be classified as crazy.
Mhm.
And then Takara said, "This is a good statement. We have to take a gentle approach to everyone else's issues."
me.
And I want to chime in on here. I think because I feel like people don't do all their research at times. Sometimes
Mhm,
you need medication,
mhm,
and sometimes it could be a level of you're not eating right. So your diet is
mhm,
affecting your chemical imbalance, which leads to it could lead to your depression or
mhm.
anxiety because your body is not naturally getting the nutrients that it needs.
Mhm.
Right, right.
Sometimes your body does require medication. And I think this leads also to Gabriel's statement is like you have to find the right counselor.
Mhm,
Because I
Mhm.
believe your counselor will give you the things that you need,
mhm,
whether it's like for example, when I started going through my counselor and we was having this conversation, he was wanting to put me on some anxiety medication
mhm, mhm.
because I was a wreck. All right.
Okay.
And my concern was being on medication, what will it do?
Right.
Because sometimes medication to put you in the zone is like you
Mhm.
shit like spazzed out or you just calm and it's hard to function.
Mhm.
However, my thinking when talking to my counselor, is there a natural way? And so he prescribed some natural things that I did and natural things. This is how I learned about ashwagandha and melatonin or something like that.
Mhm.
The bottom line is finding a counselor that can give you what you're looking for and be well rounded in it,
Mhm.
not just one way.
So let me
I
talk
want
on
to
that.
piggyback really quick, and I'll be
Yeah.
done, and Place can say his. Because
Mhm.
Titus said ashwagandha, and he said melatonin. I was just gonna say another form of medication that we just totally sometimes rule out is adequate sleep.
Mhm.
That
Going your tail to
the
bed.
bed.
We binge watch movies from episode 1 to
Listen,
episode
Mhm.
15 and
Guilty.
then wonder why I'm so tired that I didn't pack my lunch, right? I didn't
right,
pack what I cooked. So
right.
now I'm at
That's
work and
good
I'm
for you.
tired and I go and get some
That's right.
trash food. And then at the end of the day, I ate the trash food, which made me more tired. And so now I slept on the trash food. And so I feel sluggish. And so
Mhm.
it then becomes a cycle of,
And
and I've learned, and I'm just speaking from a truthful place,
Mhm.
that there was a depression that was creeping up on me because I didn't have adequate sleep. So then anxiety. So then when I was awoke or awake,
mm,
I became anxious.
mm,
And because I can't became anxious, I began to overthink. So it literally was a snowball, and I began to go down the rabbit hole. And it was like,
Mhm.
you know what? That episode of Game of Thrones gonna be there when you wake up. Get off the TV.
right.
Game of Thrones had me. Listen, I was so invested in their business
Yep. Yep.
that I literally almost went into depression in my real life. To see,
Now,
Mhm.
listen,
so the medication that I'm talking about is adequate sleep.
Red.
Listen, we may think we don't need that extra 5 minute, 3 minute nap. You know what? I will mess up a 5 minute nap now, just so that I have that
Right.
time. You know,
Mhm.
even on break, if you have a 30-minute break, take 5, 10 minutes, close your eyes, and allow your mind to think about nothing.
Right.
Nothing. We rest when we go to
Listen,
bed. You rest when you know, if you walk the 3 miles, you're gonna sit down and take a break, but we never turn off our mind.
Mhm.
listen, and going to sleep without the TV show on.
Or a
Because
podcast.
our podcast, because I'm in a class now where we're talking about your subconscious mind.
Mhm.
And one of
Mhm.
the things that we're realizing that your mind never, your subconscious never sleeps. So if you're going to TV on with love of hip hop and all this cussing and you're waking up agitated, that's why, because your mind is literally picking up this stuff. This is why at times I will go to sleep in silence or I'll cut on some meditation music or some type of soaking worship music so that my mind is in a place of peace. And I have noticed personally that when
Mhm.
I do that, I wake up differently.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to go back real quick, and touch on what Titus talked about. Um, mind, body, and soul, right? So you have to take care of your mind. Your body is equally as important. Even the Bible says to rest, right?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, and then, of course, your soul, just whatever faith you are, stay in the Word. Stay in the Word. And look out, that's my folks preaching to me, mind, body, and soul. And then two, going back to some of the barriers.
Mhm.
Um, one of the episodes of my podcast, I interviewed a white therapist, and I was talking to her about some of the barriers that would affect us. And one was actually, of course, race, right? So how could I talk to you about my problems if you are my problem, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So having other, she gave me a good point. So she was trying to counsel a 40-year-old black man, right? And you have this, I think, what, 20 something year old therapist, white woman. She's like, well, we can't relate immediately, but it took her time to
Mhm.
be vulnerable herself and have them break down walls for her to be trusted to have those important conversations to where they could get past whatever issues and help that individual, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lack of black mental health therapists, male and female, out there.
Mhm.
There are websites you can go to, like Psychology Today, where you can actually see your therapist, see the face of who you're looking at. But there's a lack of black mental health counselors out there for us to go and be trusted to
Right.
even start those conversations. So um, yeah, we need more adequate and more, I guess, black mental health therapists just to
And I
our
will say this, Chase, because you touched on something very very deep and very good. Hopefully, we could just keep continue this conversation because it's very good.
Mhm,
But I'll say this, and this is maybe me just speaking out to the audience, but there's a level of trust that African American just don't have with each other. If someone tells you, "Hey, this is taxing to me, is this bothering to me," or
mhm,
someone is going through something, it really adds a value for you to be a safe haven. You
Mm,
know,
mhm,
I know for me, and this is something that I did during the pandemic. A lot of people start using Zoom as a form of meeting
mhm,
place. And so what I did was I got my immediate family with my mom and her siblings, and my mom's siblings' kids, and just them, and we meet every Sunday, right? And we
mhm,
go over our mental numbers, something good that happened last week, and then we have how can our family, build each other up. And so it's a form of group therapy because in my mind and in my heart, I know most of my family will never sit in a therapist chair. They may never take a virtual call with a therapist. So what I do is, because I am in therapy, they I actually lead the group, and I
mhm,
bring the tools from my therapy group, from my big group, and also from my independent session, and I bring it to the Zoom call with my family. And
mhm,
because I'm somebody that they know, trust, and looks like them,
mm,
mhm,
we're able
mhm.
to go through these exercises together. So that could also be a solution to help out.
Right.
Again, just because you're not a therapist doesn't mean you don't need to be. You don't have to be trustworthy. You may be just like Chase Jackson, a leader in your community. Chase has a number of things that he does, which makes him okay to talk to, right? Because he's a part of a fraternity. We know that he's been through however whatever things that they go through to become a brotherhood. So then you look at him and you understand that, oh, well, if he's a part of something, then he has substance, he has standards, he has value, he has virtue. Maybe I see myself, maybe a young guy looks at Chase and says, hey, I can go to him and I can look up to him, and maybe that could be my safe haven. That
Mhm,
young man may never go to a therapist,
mm,
mhm,
but Chase has become a safe place. Titus, a safe place. So I want to say, just out in the atmosphere, if you know somebody that may be going through some things, right? First, you need to check your own personal mental and make
mhm.
sure. And this is just a little a little bunker box tip, right? If you can't detach, do not engage.
mm,
What that means is if you're not able to break away from their situation and not allow it to go with you when you leave, then
Mhm.
do not engage in that situation. I don't care if it's drama. Hey, girl, let me talk to you. No, hey, listen, I don't have the mental capacity for that.
Mhm.
And if you know if it's not constructive, if it's something helping, like somebody and I just feel just the need to say this. If there's somebody out there dealing with mental instability, somebody that may be suicidal, maybe depressed, may need someone just to talk to. If you are not a safe place, please, please, please give. If you can't be the safe place, please give them contact information where they can call the suicide hotline or something like that. Don't leave that person without any tools if you're able to do that.
Right.
you know but those are just some different things that I just thought to throw out while we're talking about this, because it's a really good topic. And I believe that, to be honest, everybody in the world suffers somewhat within their mental. We
Mhm,
have to
mhm.
learn how to daily, right, Chase? Is that
Right.
something
Yes.
that you have to? Yeah.
Yes. And so even the pandemic made it worse for those who were always busy. So what the pandemic did, and we can't blame it all on the pandemic, but what it enhanced or magnified was the
Mm-hmm.
people's inability to sit with themselves, literally
Mm-hmm.
sit with themselves.
listen.
And it made people just honestly think about who they are. Some people already don't like where they are. Some people don't like who they are. And now that you have to literally sit and look at yourself every day, or unfortunately for some families out there, you have to spend more time together,
Right.
found out that that wasn't the best situation that was, going to continue, unfortunately. And I hate that, but it was a reality that came across for so many people. Um, just as unfortunately. So go ahead, Titus.
No, I think all this is just good information. Like I've been an advocate. My friends know I'm an advocate for therapy,
Mhm.
because you have to go, and it's not just. Let me say it like this: when you get into therapy, it's not this surface stuff, and I feel like most people go into spaces to where they are surface level, but they don't want to go in deep. And therapy makes you go into deep. You have to deal with you have to deal with your relationship with your mom and your dad, not in the present state, but deal with the stuff that they did when you were little.
Right.
You have to deal with being touched inappropriately for those that because that's affecting the adult that you are. You have to deal with your siblings not treating you right and feel like you're being bullied in high school, and if you have to deal with all that so that you can be better for society. And a lot of times, let me stay on track because my mind is like this subject is so vast, you know what I
A
mean?
lot. It's
I
a
feel
lot.
like, to your point, COVID made us deal with us. We
Mhm.
had to deal with shame. We had to deal with integrity. We had to deal with the relationship that we were trying to put on a facade with everybody, but we really didn't want to be in. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? We had to really sit with I don't like me. And when you sit with that, I don't like me, now you have to make a decision. Am I going to continue not to like me, or am I going to do the things that's going to make me love me?
Right. Right.
And I think we have to push people to say, regardless of what's going on in your life, whether I like it or not, do you love you? Because if you love you enough, even if it don't rub off on me, the love that you have for yourself will cause you to live a longer life.
Right. Right. You have to go and do for you. Make a change. It may be hard, but at least making that first step to making a
Absolutely.
change would even be enough for some people. So during the pandemic, of course, I started the podcast. Others started their own businesses, but it's really just trying to make that change to better yourself in some
Absolutely.
form or fashion. Picking up a new hobby, just something that makes a difference, but makes you feel better about where you are. So, and look, the
Hey, I
Absolutely.
pandemic
have a
is not
question
over. Yes.
about, because it sounds like we're getting into the section of self care, right?
Mhm.
But a lot of times, even from a young age, we're taught you need to do this because that's selfish if you don't. If you
Mm,
take care of yourself first,
good.
right? Then it's selfish. And so for a long time, we are trained to think about the
Right.
next person, to think about
Right.
someone else, think about how
Right.
that makes, hey, when you hit them, how did that make them feel, right?
Right.
Not that when they said what they said, how did that affect you? And it made you, feel, and so you reacted, right? But the reaction happened after an action. And so we're so programmed even from a young age to be selfless. I mean, to be selfless actually. And so as you get older, and like I said, therapy, not just therapy though. How many times do we really go to the doctor and take care of ourselves? Not until our body tells us and the alarms go off like boop boop, something's wrong. Do we even go? But to get a checkup when nothing's wrong, like a well check, there's a lot of times those get pushed back, rescheduled. The dentist office, I don't know how many people they really see on a regular basis unless there's pain involved. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of times we're taught to be selfless. And I want to change that word to self-care because
Mm,
as we're talking about mental health and things like that, it's just what I keep hearing is we have to teach, we have to teach ourselves, right? Because nobody's going to teach us to love us, to take care of us, but we have to reteach. We have to unlearn some things and
mm,
reteach ourselves to say, hey, you are on that list, whether it's mental, spiritual, physical, you have to be on that list.
Hmm.
Earlier, you talked about priorities. The priority is that everybody around me is taken care of. Now I can take a break, so how do we tackle that unlearning of selflessness and start teaching self-care?
It, I can say start slow, right? For those who just don't want to cut off everybody and go to a beach by themselves, carve out specific time for you.
mm,
So for those of us who have very, very busy schedules, take an hour, schedule a day out of the week just to do the things that are good for you.
mm,
In the previous show with Anthony Chase and Gabriel, we talked about how Anthony, he wakes up at like what 4 in the morning just to go work out. That
Mm,
would not be me. No, I'm not that person. But that's like his own form of meditation, just self
mm,
care, where he goes, takes care of what he needs to do in the morning, and he's pretty much done for the day after that.
Mhm.
Um, Carve out those things, make time for you. We always talk about people make time for what they care for
Mhm.
yourself. Selfish that you go and take care of you, but if you don't take care of you, you're not going to be able to take care of everybody else in the future.
right,
Because so many people will use you, so many people will be in your corner until you can no longer physically and mentally do what you have done for them,
right,
and then they come and ask you, "Well, why not? What happened? You
right.
burnt out?"
Is this one thing I'm burning to ask you? And it's
Mhm,
because this conversation is so good. And I'm so glad we get to have this conversation. But there's a thing, right, that I know
mhm,
in my life and maybe in other people's lives that you have people that give you their opinion on what you should do, right?
mhm,
If you just do this or you need to do this,
mhm.
can you talk to drowning out the opinions or suggestions of others and how that can also boost your health in a way. Well, let me just give an example of what I'm saying. I've had relationships where people have told me what they thought I should do, but then they're never around for the consequences once I do what they told me I should. You shouldn't have that friend, but then when my friend is gone and I'm calling, you need to get you a life. To get you a life. So tell me, just I mean, if that triggered any thought in your mind, what was the first thing that you thought about when I said that?
Look, I don't have a specific example, but I can say you should want to be, or you should have people around you where you want to be. So that person, let's say if you're in business, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're sitting there and say, "Hey, I want to start a business. I want to go into this company. I want to do this for myself." Of course, you have people, "Hey, well, you should do this. You should do that. You should do this." If they're not in that space, and you know they're not in that space, maybe they're not the best person to listen to. So everybody should have a mentor, right? That
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
mentor has already done, has already succeeded, has already failed, probably, because failure teaches things as well. They've
mm,
already been in that realm of where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Those who sit around and tell you, "Well, you should do this, or you wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't do this," they're not in that space. They're not in that growing space of where you need to go. You
right.
need to realize where they are, but
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
also go and be surrounded by others who are where you want to be.
mm,
So I say surround yourself with people once again who are where you want to be, and those I'm not going to call them naysayers because some of them just talkers. But if they're not helping you grow, they're not being a benefit to you. Leave them where they are. You can go talk to them on another day. Leave them where they are, and go be around others who will be a benefit to you. Whether that's mentally, like I said, you're doing something with business, even going to school. Why are you going to that higher class school over there or that country school over there? Well, I mean, hey, I'll see you when I get back. Let me go do this for me.
Yes. So are you sure it's just your mom and your dad that are ministers?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I have an uncle. I have an uncle who is a minister too.
Oh, Chase Jackson is in there somewhere. But yeah.
sure. So we got one more question, then we're gonna wrap this up.
Okay.
We have one question that says, "What are some things you would say to someone that's on the fence about getting to therapy?"
Hmm. Realize that what's the worst case if you go? What's the worst thing that happen if you go?
Mm,
And also the counterpoint, what happens if you don't go?
mm,
There's so many things left on the table if you don't go to therapy. Sometimes it's about taking that first step. It's a scary first step. We
mm,
talked about trust. We talked about being vulnerable. It's a scary first step, but I believe it is necessary for those who need to go, especially if you know you need to go. Just take a shot. Not all therapists are meant for you, but it's like going to any store, right? If you're gonna go to therapy, talk to that therapist, see if they work out for you. If not, find another.
mm,
Find another. Some therapists aren't made for all people, but if you know you need that assistance, go see for yourself. There are others out there. There are programs out there that will help you pay for therapy if that's one of your issues, or I say issues, problems of not going. Your what do you call barriers of not going.
Yeah.
Um, there are programs out there to help, but take that first step. A lot of um, the reason why people don't change or why they're afraid to change is that taking that first step, it makes all the difference. So
Absolutely.
I would say go and get some coping skills. Go to the first session
mhm.
and just ask them for all of like within this hour. Just give me coping. Don't say nothing. Just ask
Done.
for coping skills and then leave. See if anything they said because my
Mhm.
first session, honestly, she said some things that confirmed a lot of things that
Okay.
I had already told myself, but I didn't believe myself. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like a lot of things you tell yourself, hey, you can do this. You
Mhm.
can, you can go here. This is good for you, but
Mhm.
I didn't believe it. And then I didn't have the right people telling me the
Mhm.
things that I needed them to tell me, not that it was their responsibility to tell me anyway. That
Right.
therapist is there just for you,
And I
just
say
to tell you
also, and be open to what they have to say that you may not want to hear.
mm-hmm,
Just with any good therapist or any good mentor, sometimes you're gonna hear things you don't want to hear, but it's good for you. So be open to doing something new.
mm-hmm,
So
Absolutely. So y'all, you know how we do. Like, tag somebody in this conversation that can go back and watch the entire video. I would say, man, this is something that I feel like all your family friends. This shows a show that they need to watch,
mm-hmm,
so they can know that it's okay to go and talk to somebody.
mhm.
Like, once you release all that, you will never know the anxiety and the depression that can be relinquished if you just go talk to somebody. You're not in it by yourself. You don't have to do it by yourself. And there's somebody that has walked in your shoes that if they survived, if they survive, you can survive. But that has to come with talking and being okay with not being okay.
mm-hmm.
That part.
True.
So, Chase, if you could give your information on how people could see your podcast as well as follow you on all social media.
Sure thing. So you can follow me on Instagram at BlackMindCH, on Facebook and Facebook and Instagram at Black Mind Chronicles. On Twitter is Black at was it Black Mind CH? I haven't used Twitter in a minute. Um, I am on YouTube, same Black Mind Chronicles on YouTube as well. Or you can email the show if you have questions. It's blackmindch@gmail.com. Some other individuals have come through and just asked me to be on the show, called in from Turkey to tell their story. But that's
Oh,
what the
wow.
show is for. Yeah.
That's what's up. So y'all,
Mhm.
y'all go follow our new friend Chase Jacks. We got to do a part two
Okay.
of just
Okay.
mental health and just talking and how to set up. We probably need to walk somebody how to go through the site
Mhm.
and find people because that's all. That is a scary thing. Like, how do I know I'm linking with the right therapist?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's certain things that you can do to find the right therapist. Trust
Yeah.
me, I know. But we're getting ready to get out of here. But y'all, again, show love to Kara in the chat. She's here rocking with us. Send her love. We send our condolences from TTNT in the loss of her mom. We're praying for you, sis. Know that we are here to support you. And we love you for real, for real.
Mhm.
Now, like we do as any show, if you need your lashes done, if you need your face beat, like if you need Mike Tyson like bashing your face anointing for just a beat, get with your girl, Madam Secretary. She will hook you up just right. If you need fashion advice, if you
Mhm.
need artistry advice on how to grow your artistry and
Mhm.
brand your artistry, get with your girl, Madam Secretary. And if you need a dope song, you need music production, you get with your boy Titus Glenn. We're here. We have services available. TTNT. This is only a tip of what we do, but behind the
Mhm.
scenes, we are writing songs, we are building brands, we are growing artists, we're having conversations on how to grow wealth. And you too
Like
can
that.
be a part of us just by connecting with us and just, you know, being around us. So that's our show for tonight.
I have an announcement.
Go ahead. Go with your announcement, friend.
Speaking of building brands, I want you guys, I'm going to say it again. Here you go. This is the It Twos, Intelligent Thinkers times two. This book speaks about children's special needs, autistic. It helps start a conversation. It helps with your children, even adults. They have there's some adults that have special needs that may need to know how to get back to the basics to navigate through life. This book is here. You guys can get this on Amazon. I'm telling you guys, you read this book, and I promise you, you may be thrown all the way back when you were in school and you wanted to make some different decisions. You guys go get Intelligent Thinkers Times Two on Amazon. Our artist of the week is Casey Odom. She's amazing, y'all. We're gonna advertise because we had her on the show and we had a great conversation on how to bring awareness to not only mental health but to the special needs community. So I want to make sure we see the book again, Intelligent Thinkers Times Two by Casey Odom.
All right, guys. So until next week, make sure you are liking, tagging this video, and we will see you guys next week for another Made It show. Again, give it up one more time for Chase Jackson. We out.
Thank y'all.
Stay around, Chase.